Last time on Dice Fall and Everyone Dies.
I was thinking I was just gonna... Not like I'm super helpful or anything. I was just thinking I was gonna leave or... But we have...
Excuse me?
I would never say this to anyone. My people, we roam. We see the world. We adventure. We have to. Because otherwise we die. I know not everyone is cut out for that. But I would rather know that you're going to be here when it gets hard than to have you not. So are you staying because you want to? Or...
Raiders in the countryside, not like the goblin raiders from the old Goblin Blood Wars, but more akin to being either accosted by mercenaries or, oddly enough, coming across dug up aspects of their fields, places where families would be laying to rest. There's no other way to say it. Waylaid by some brigands, and my understanding is that some of your correspondents...
Correspondence from where?
Well, from my understanding, at least from where we received the message from the initial sending, you did pay quite handsomely to make sure that your correspondence was well taken care of. Now, it seems it is the one from... it was the one we were worried about coming from Nightall, ma'am.
Where are they?
Welcome back to Dice Fall and Everyone Dies. I'm your GM Chris, and let's talk about technicals. Sound technicals, actually. We're very proud of how our sound has been evolving since the start of the podcast, and we could leave well enough alone. The challenge with that option is that, well, we each have day jobs, nerdy passions, and the podcast itself. And so we're always looking for ways to save time on creating content while trying to push our quality closer and closer to professional levels. In this episode and our next, we're trying something new with the recording method and our editing tools, and no lie, I'm not 100% satisfied with our methods and quality for these next rounds. I love our gameplay. I believe that we've produced better sounding episodes in the past. Now, some of this is pure learning curve. Let's be honest, most of it's pure learning curve. A smaller part, though, is actually the recording method. And for those of you who want to start a podcast, here are a few lessons we've learned along the way. There are 3 ways to record at the beginning of your podcast journey. You can plug in a basic headphone mic or a USB mic into your PC or laptop and then start talking. Download some free software, hit record, and you're good to go. You can fiddle with a few settings, and you might even get to a decent sound. And it's a great option for streamers or online tabletop players, or single-person podcasts. When you're ready to step up your quality, you adapt a mixing board into your workflow. This is often a great idea for live streaming, as that mixing board actually reduces your processing needs for capturing your audio, and then provides you a wealth of effects and options. A great live board can even take streams as well as interview podcasts right into professional levels of quality. And if you have the patience to learn the craft of sound design as well as mixing, you can find yourself sounding as good, if not better, than the pros. Adding live people in the same room? That's where we start getting complicated. Google up some radio show sets and some podcast sets for large groups, and you'll see telltale signs of more complex recording setups. Your sound engineer must account for where each participant could be located, how the set itself is designed, as well as how their personal workflow is going to create the best mix for the type of content. You ever wonder why a lot of professional voice acting sessions are done in single-person sound booths? Yeah, that's because recording multiple people simultaneously in the same room is technically possible, but it creates a lot of noise and overlap, and it becomes an editing nightmare. But there are solutions. You can switch from sensitive condenser mics to dynamic live mics. You can use digital noise gates, condensers, and limiters. If you have the budget, you can look for their analog versions to take the signal to that next level before you do your digital sound conversion. Then you can set up noise mitigation for your studio. You can always go out hunting for new techniques. There is a vast amount to learn about sound, how we perceive it, as well as how to use it. So, sound quality is critical, And it's doubly critical when you factor in limited or no visual elements to your content. And when you begin to learn editing techniques and pouring hours and hours into making better sound, you begin to hear everything. Your brain gets trained to look for hums, buzzes, lips, and breaths. And your raw recordings also become a playground. And your computer has sound suites taking up gigs of space so that you can get that perfect sound effect or that right bit of background sound. And you know what? We could reduce the workload by being less obsessed with sound. You know what? Maybe that point is coming up here soon where we finally land into the type of sound that we like and then we just double down on producing as much content as possible. I hope that day soon so that we can get more Dicefall out to everyone. Speaking of, if you happen to enjoy our podcast, please leave a rating and comment on your app of choice. Those algorithms love comments almost as much as we do. And we love comments. We love comments. We've also begun recording for our next project. And that's in my editing queue right now, and we hope to have more announcements on that in detail coming soon. Now, let's dip back in on our party, as Stheno has something that seems to have raised her ire, something fierce. I wonder what it is. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Dicefall and Everyone Dies. We are just off of rearranging and resetting up our studio for a project we hope to be able to start recording here pretty soon. We have another wonderful mic set up that is presently turned off, but it is there, so we have more on-site recording fun stuff that we can do. We have a new mic integrated, and we found some fun software to begin trying out some new things on our sound. So if we sound a little different, that's because we are readjusting to all of the cool stuff. We made sure to expand our table space so everyone has space today.
What's that space for, Chris?
That space is for us to either do minis or have y'all put all of your books or so that you can do all of the crazy little sounds like rolling dice and clicking your motherfucking pens.
So Sid can add more pens to the table.
Yeah, that's part of it.
I have it very limited to this.
Yeah, Jules actually has more writing utensils than you right now.
Which is weird.
And I have none.
Because mine are marked.
Do you need a pen?
Thank you.
I guess.
You guess.
Oh,
You do need at least one writing utensil.
I think I have one.
You have one?
Zach is that kid who showed up to class in high school and he had like one
Dude,
sheet of loose leaf paper
You
and a
have
pen.
no idea. Like,
Am
I
I
went
right?
like
Am I right?
weeks in a row without having anything to write
Oh
and
my
bumming
God.
pencils off of people. Yeah, that's me.
Sad.
What?
I was that person who
I'm
always had my book.
irresponsible.
I always had all of my binders.
you
I
need
had
a-
individual binders, individual notebooks.
I
Oh,
always
shit,
had
sorry.
writing utensils and paper, but only because I coincidentally had them.
Zach
I
and Jules, were
didn't-
you both the people who would get paper from your teachers and just jam it into your backpack?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I was very bad in high
Yeah,
school.
I
Very-
was
that was
not.
chaotic.
Sid, you did not.
I was not a good kid when it came to stationery when I was in
Sick.
high school. I also never had pens or pencils with me, which is part of why I am so focused on them now.
Chris,
Is I like
I
not
always had them
having
because I was
to worry about.
hang on. Chris, were you this chaotic little asshole too?
So in high school, I was the kid who decided that going to the locker was for losers. And I literally carried every single textbook simultaneously. And I delighted in taking this large duffel bag full of like 30 pounds of reading material plus another 10 pounds of school material and then dropping it on the floor every single day.
See, bastards like you were the reason we weren't allowed to have backpacks in our class.
You would have enjoyed my high school because we had no lockers and we had textbooks that were 7 pounds apiece.
Yes.
Yeah, you would have loved
And
it.
so I was the kid who started the day lugging 50 pounds, ended after 7 periods with 50 pounds. And in high school, my day started at 5. My school day ended at 4 to 4:30, and then I was also then working up until about 7. So from about 5 to 7 was my average day from like junior year onward. And so that was my daily.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Bra.
Yeah, it was great.
I didn't even have a backpack. I had a messenger bag that I just willy-nilly crammed shit into.
And the other fun part is like I started my day off with the jocks because I was in wrestling and football in high school, and then I ended it with the nerds in robotics at the end of the day.
I started in nerds with creative writing, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Nice.
And then I ended with nerds by staying from 4 to 9 in the drama department, building sets, making costumes, painting. I did technical theater.
I usually left early to go to the library in
By
downtown.
left early, do you mean cut class?
Yes, absolutely. I cut like legitimately the second half class of we had 6 periods, so usually I'd cut out like right after lunch if I didn't already skip 4th period to go to second lunch.
Second.
Because I
Are you a Hobbit? Are you a
Yeah,
Hobbit?
that is some Hobbit level
wasn't
shit right
really
there.
the time. What would happen was I
11
always had
Cs.
first lunch. So I go to first lunch with my friends, and then we'd cut class by hiding in the band hall in the bathroom for about 15 minutes until second lunch started, and then just go to second lunch, and then I just leave campus. I did drop out of high school. I do have my diploma, but I did drop out.
So, Sid, how are we doing today?
Great. I was a nerd because I started with choir and ended it with art every day, but
Art class was awesome. Not gonna lie, art class is always awesome.
I love that class.
And then Shay, how are we doing on your side?
Feel a little bit like a master of a table right now.
Yes, so normally when we have our table set up, we have people sitting across from each other. But since we expanded to 2 tables, since the plan is for
3 tables.
I was getting to that point.
Okay.
Since we expanded to a second 6-foot table so that everyone had space, and for the next project, Shay will be the one who is GMing that game. We wanted to have a space specifically so that while I'm handling the technical side, Shay will have all of the appropriate space to be able to GM properly.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So all 4 of you, I've GM'd for all 4 of you. Would you say comparatively that Chris is still more of a monster than I am?
Oh, yeah.
100%?
Oh, definitely.
Even though I surprised y'all with that mimic?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
I mean, it's a mimic.
Yeah,
Okay.
Did you?
yeah.
Did you?
Hey, the kid lived in your campaign.
That's true.
That's true, yeah.
That is very true. The kid lived. Not like, you know what? Some people from that campaign are listening. We didn't kill Nikis.
Yeah, we saved him.
We didn't throw a fireball in the basement.
A very closed space basement.
Oh, we're so afraid of mimics. We're going to go ahead and launch an AoE spell when we're trying to save
we
someone.
looted the room because rogues, yo.
How many daggers did y'all walk out of that place?
I think we had like 17
many.
daggers.
My rogue
So many
could
daggers.
not throw that many daggers.
Look, I
nor
didn't
did
know
she
how
want
loot
to
worked
carry.
then. I know now.
We're happy to be part of the experiment. So, now, Jules, how we doing over there?
I'm doing good. Drank a bunch of coffee.
You're drawing light from Death Note.
No! I'm trying to do art that isn't another blonde.
Fair.
And Zach, how are we doing today?
Good. I'm really impressed with our efficiency and being able to get started.
Oh, God.
I'm really excited about that.
It
I
is
need
3
a
o'clock.
flashlight
Magic
for
of
that
editing.
goddamn shade.
Like, I should have
Shade's
probably
so
just
nice.
turned the
It's
lights
good
out
on
for
this
that one.
72-degree March 1st day.
Hey, look,
Lousy.
we don't have standard seasons in Texas. We have hot, cold, wet, dry, and somewhere in between.
And they all happen
Nightmare fuel.
intermittently.
Yes, they do happen.
What's nightmare fuel? Is nightmare fuel when we have our ice blizzard storms or our
No.
tornadoes?
No, nightmare fuel is 105 fucking degrees outside.
After 3 days
that's
of
just
tornadoes.
After 3 days
Yeah.
of tornadoes.
Followed
wet
by
as hell.
followed immediately by an ice blizzard storm.
We have gone from 70 to ice blizzard storm with, I think,
In a
this
day.
We did
Within
that.
a day.
We did that 6 years ago.
Wow.
I checked my memories on Facebook.
Yes.
I had to drive 45 minutes from the office from the Staples I was working at back to my apartment in like a foot and a half of snow and a lot of ice.
Yeah.
I got pulled over by a cop and then got a cop escort back to my apartment.
And when that happened, I was driving for work and I was behind a Corvette and we were stuck in this line of cars that went on for ages and we're sitting there like for 2 hours On a stretch of road that was probably a quarter mile long, and that Corvette was just like couldn't go anywhere.
Fishtailing?
Oh yeah, you can hardly move.
I think
Were you driving a tow truck?
Yeah.
I've known you longer than that shitty storm.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. We're friends. This is a fun place. It's not like I
Confession
periodically.
time. Confession time to our listeners. Sid and Chris used to be my fancy friends.
Oh,
Yeah, that didn't last long.
yeah.
That stopped
don't
immediately
know.
after Chris got me drunk on my birthday.
See, that's what takes me from being a fancy friend to being a good friend. I make sure that people get intoxicated on their birthday safely.
Mm-hmm.
Safe enough anyway.
Drunk on my birthday this year. That's okay though.
It's because you didn't want to get drunk on your birthday this year. We could have solved that. In fact, we could solve that right now. I literally have a bottle of Patron waiting to be drinking.
It's 3:00 on a Sunday, Chris. Come on.
Please no.
That's why he's the good friend.
Good
I
friend, bad
appreciate
husband.
that. I appreciate that, Zach. All right. So when we last left off, y'all had just finished working with Roxy to bring in all of the people from all of the area into her establishment and having one hell of a bard off and rocking out. And then y'all settled in for a wonderful sleep. And as y'all were waking up the next day, some of that was probably a little bit of a hangover. Stheno decides that she's going to go check and see what's going on at Vusker's and be like, have we gotten our stuff in yet? I'm
Has an
waiting.
important letter.
Is that what happens when Deimos is by himself? He bards off.
He barks off hard.
You're not wrong.
And then that's when Stheno... No, he yeasts.
Oh no! No!
You can't unhear that.
How dare you? That makes it sound sludgy.
Nasty.
Forbidden.
Yeah, well, we're earning that E rating today. And so Stheno goes to check and see what's going on at Vusker's, and then suddenly finds out, oh, yeah, the caravan that probably had your letter was attacked. And I don't think Stheno was happy about that, right?
She's not. She's gonna go fucking crush some heads.
And if I remember correctly, you had enlisted Alec at that point, because he was basically like, yeah, sure, I don't mind going around for an errand. And then it was like, ooh, we're going to go kill some stuff now. Okay, this is unexpected. So, are y'all going to make any preparations before y'all head out?
Oh yeah, well, Stheno is wearing her civilian clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna go back to the Wizard's Grace. So I think it was just Stheno and Alec that went to Vusker's.
More than likely, yes.
So she's in civilian clothes. I'm assuming he's probably wearing his leather ass pants again.
There's a lot of clapback involved, yes.
So she is not taking a moment to appreciate the sights like she was originally.
Understood.
She's heading back to Wizard's Grace to put on her armor.
What sights is she taking in
Right now,
with those leather ass pants?
she was taking in that sight. But now she's going back. She needs to get her armor on. She's getting her sword. She angry.
So, at this point, Taffy, Deimos, Kazalin, what were y'all planning to do the day after?
This is Wimble's look today, by the way.
It's Tilda Swinton.
Nice.
It's very lovely.
He made
So,
us stay that way.
Wimble
for a
Swinton?
while. Yeah.
Wimble Swinton.
Swinton. I know normally I do male characters, or actors, but she's just gorgeous, and I love how androgynous and beautiful she is. So
She has a very
I tell
fey
ya.
look to her.
Her
Yes.
in fucking Constantine, fucking killer. I love that red hair on her.
I liked her in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her in
Killer.
Love, or what is it called? It's the vampire one. Oh god.
Twilight,
No.
Dracula,
Oh, no.
Dracula 2000.
No.
He
Are you
was a
just
vampire?
naming?
Love Actually.
Hold on. Did you say Love Actually? No, she was. Oh God. Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, I think Tilda Swinton has probably either like the best publicist ever
Did
or
not
the best
care for
agent
her
ever.
in Doctor Strange.
You didn't?
No.
Too boring? Like too...
I think there's a lot of context around there that does it, but as far as if you take it and like isolate to like the look that's there, the
If
look
you
wasn't
take
necessarily
somebody,
Only Lovers Left Alive.
if you take somebody who has read a lot of Doctor Strange, that's me.
bad. You are very deep into comics.
I'm very deep into comics.
Like, if I'm like waist deep into comics, you're like 2 inches above your head.
I did
deep in
run
comics.
for a number of years an intro to Marvel Comics panel whenever the Avengers came out and everybody was like being really kind of assholeish. I ran a number of those panels and I was like, this is the shit you need to know. Okay, you are walking into, this is worse than the Star Wars Extended Universe. The Star Wars Extended Universe, if you would say that's like Lake Grapevine, Marvel is like the Pacific Ocean.
I was going to go with like Lake Superior, but sure, yeah. Let's go
No,
Lake the
Marvel's
Ocean.
like the Pacific Ocean, mostly because you got to remember all the fucking retcons.
Oh, there's a lot of retcons.
So, if you take somebody who read a lot of Doctor Strange, and Doctor Stephen Strange is one of my babies. I love him to death. He's perfect. He can do no wrong. Honestly, Benedict Cumberbatch was great in that fucking role.
Better than I thought he was going to be.
It was just really weird to see Tilda Swinton play that role.
Because it was gender bent and sort of
Not
race
gender bent. Yeah, the race bending was really weird.
Yeah.
It was like, It was kind of like watching Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell.
Oh.
Yeah, I could see that. That would have been extra weird. Yeah, that's all right. That's why we're not a movie podcast.
Also, I did not appreciate Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell because I grew up watching Ghost in the Shell on Toonami.
Man, that was a good anime.
It was a great anime.
So,
I'm gonna go back and rewatch that anime.
while Stheno is having these visions of worlds beyond in her head in her absolute rage, knowing that she has to go find what has happened to her correspondence, getting her armor on, it does take a few minutes.
Here's the question. Is Deimos in the room when she shows up to put on her armor?
He's probably in the room getting dressed. Probably.
Then I'm gonna...
A hangover.
So... Stheno is so angry at this point that she's going to kind of look at him, grunt with a very angry look on her face, and automatically just start getting changed into her armor.
Standing there, just complete error. Like, is something going on?
We need to assemble. We're leaving.
We're...
There's bandits that we need to kill. If you don't want to kill them, that's fine. I'm going to do it. And she's like stripping out of her standard jerkin and tunic, binding herself, putting on her armor, moving into things. A level of undress that Deimos has seen once.
Should I get everybody else?
She's just going to grunt and continue slapping on her armor.
Okay, he's gonna go too.
She's very angry.
Oh, where's everybody else?
So where we have Taffy at?
I can't remember what I was doing last, but
Best question, is anybody currently in their rooms?
Oh, me. All right.
Okay.
Hey.
Deimos is gonna like slap on his door. Hey. Hey.
What?
We're... get your stuff.
He's just gonna whip open the door and he's already ready because he's never not ready. Okay, guys. He is never not ready.
Does he sleep in his gear?
Yeah,
He's like a cowboy.
He's so sweaty and so gross, guys. He's cute, but he's
Is
nasty.
he cute?
Yeah. Haven't you seen his Twitter profile?
He cute?
He would clean up very well if you could get him to clean up.
If he could just take a fucking bath.
Y'all have kept hinting that there is a very exquisite bath
Does Stheno hint?
at the back. Okay, everyone but Stheno has been hinting. Stheno has been telling Kazalin to go take a
Take a
bath.
fucking bath.
One, you need a bath, dude. Two, come on. We're going to go kill bandits, I think.
Bandits.
Yes, I didn't get the full story.
Oh.
Okay. So Taffy would be in her room. She's sitting there in there talking to Wimble.
Likewise, he's going to come over and slap on her door.
I like the idea that Deimos doesn't knock. He just kind of like
Just
Slaps.
open palms the door.
I'll be out in a moment.
We're going to go kill bandits, Taffy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know either. I'm just a messenger now.
Okay. I'll be right down.
Okay.
And so as y'all finish up, you see that Alec is geared and ready to go. Got all of his material well set. Everything's nice and polished. As though after probably spending some of that additional time last night after everyone got back, just polishing up the armor, everything was
Polishing his
nice and
sword.
gleaming. Taking a whetstone, making sure that everything was nice and sharp. You can see that he's represented as almost to that military level of precision, actually right there at that level of precision at this point.
Stheno usually appreciates this. She's mad.
Are we ready to go?
Anybody else down? Is it literally just Stheno and Alec in this room?
Oh, I'm gonna.
Take a fucking bath.
Eat me.
Never.
No, you'd be disgusting at the moment.
Deimos, do you have all of your things?
Yes, I have all my stuff.
Good.
Taffy's gonna come down. She's wearing like more somber colors today, but not like noticeably more somber, like darker purple, and gloves. She's got a hood up.
Wonderful. A grouping of bandits has taken down an entire caravan of mail. I have something very important in there, but it's everybody else's mail too. Let's go kill them.
Okay.
Wonderful. She's going to head out.
From my understanding, Miss Taffy, Caslin, that the caravan was outside of town some ways, and while we were at Vuska's, we received a message that it was waylaid. And it seems Lady Stheno is eager to investigate. It's like something, I don't know exactly what message she's waiting for, but I assume it's of great import.
She's excited, isn't she?
I haven't seen her this excited in some time, not until she nearly ripped that poor bloke's arm off.
I'm gonna take a quick second to ready my spells. Sorry.
Master Caslin, I think you could be tracked by a wolf from 500 yards at this point.
Oh, shut up, all of you. Just shut up. Just shut up, everyone.
You smell
Stop talking.
You smell
Ah, stop talking now. He's gonna walk up to the bar
What?
and he's gonna fill his water skin with ale.
Okay.
And no. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay, Mr. Angry.
So how would y'all like to approach tracking down this caravan? Because y'all know it would be a long one on the roads.
Well, our ranger can do it
Is he willing to do it?
if it'll get this over with faster.
Don't you care about doing good things for people?
I don't think this has anything to do with doing a good thing, does
Bandits
it?
are inherently bad.
All right, but is
Whatever.
that really your motivation?
Why do you care about my motivation? If you don't want to go fight them, you can stay here and continue stinking up the entire
Oh,
fucking
and
tavern.
let you all die.
I have spent 21 years of my life taking care of myself.
Oh, 21 years.
I
You
mean,
are so aged and wise.
What, your family just made you take care of yourself?
Taffy's going to like walking down I assume we're walking out of the tavern and onto the road. She's gonna sharply veer off and head to the stable and go get Braxton.
So you
Listen, Caslin, if you have something to fucking say, Say it.
Oh, you can't percept it on your own.
Just
after
fucking
21
say
years.
It. I don't think you're nobility. I think you're faking it.
Nobility doesn't care what others think of themselves.
That is entirely false. Nobility cares entirely way too much.
Maybe you do.
No.
Maybe you're just broken.
Spectral hand doesn't work like mage hand.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Your point
We'll
of
be back
order
after
is
these
held.
messages.
Yes, those are two separate spells.
Sorry, Taffy's readying spells while she's like walking to get Braxton and muttering to herself.
So Taffy's able to get Braxton out from the stable, and he is ready, saddled up to carry. Y'all do still have access to Stheno's horse. Did anyone else want to grab horses as well before heading out, or do you want to go with a horse, a riding dog, and three folks on foot?
We should probably grab other horses.
Yeah.
Stheno's gonna go grab 3 other horses.
Excellent.
She's going to literally throw the reins at Caslin's face.
Taffy's just gonna ignore the party and ride to the edge of town to wait for everybody.
Kyle's gonna get on the horse, and it is the most majestic style of horse riding you've ever seen.
You know
If there
what?
was any question that he
Fuck
was
you.
noble, it's gone. It's gone.
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it going?
Is
No,
it?
know what?
It's not.
Look at his
Give-
form. It's
Give me
beautiful.
a society check.
Wait,
Stheno's gonna try and outshine him.
Oh,
22.
goddamn.
Let's see what Stheno's has got going on here.
$27. I naturally 20'd that.
Okay, so with the reins brought into his face, you see Caslin steadfastly go to the end of the rein. He puts his foot up into the stirrup, brings himself on with a grace that seems born of someone who has been around the equestrian styles for long periods. Quickly adjusting into the saddle, brings himself up into the saddle. His back is straight. You can tell that there's a set of relaxing that's in his hips, as though he is used to being in a saddle since the time of maybe age 4 or 5, brought up and around horses. And he brings the horse, and they canter around, clomping into the center. And just for that little bit of extra flourish, the horse rears up with that braying sound, and Caslin settles them back down quickly as the horse kind of stamps its feet down. And then he looks over to the side and sees Stheno equally getting up into the saddle. But in this case, the horse had kneeled down specifically to allow Stheno the appropriate, almost dainty ascendance to its back. And then as it rears itself back up in a slow, regal-like gesture, it then turns its head at Stheno's reins, and she comes up beside, and simultaneously, while you're watching Alec attempt to get up into the saddle, he deftly gets up, but in comparison to both Caslin's as well as Stheno's ascendance into the saddle, looks like he has been riding horses for about the equivalent of 6 months by comparison.
Alec, baby!
And it's not that he got up into the saddle inexpertly. It just did not compare. Just like for him, it was he threw his leg over and he is like ready to go, and the horse is just a little pissed off that it wasn't done just right.
Oh boy.
And he's just kind of looking down. I think I need more practice.
It's okay. I thought it was
head off towards where Taffy went.
Alright, so as y'all head out of town, let's go ahead and get a survival check to figure out where this caravan would be.
17.
I'm gonna cast no direction.
25.
So
Or no, that's not gonna help. Never mind.
yeah, you because of the orientation of the town and y'all's experience with it, you know where north is at this point.
Fair enough.
So we have 17, 25.
What are we doing? Survival?
Yes. So this you would need to have the tracking ability.
Oh.
So you would need to at least be trained in survival. And Stheno's trained
Well, I
in
am.
survival, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
So I'm trained, that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. 22?
So y'all collectively figure that if they were going to be coming along and exposed by bandits, about which route towards Breach Hill they would be wanting to take, and y'all set out along the pathways, heading out towards the west of town, so that heading along towards the river. From what y'all experienced on your way up, there was one general path towards Breach Hill, but since there is a northern and southern entrance into the town, if coming from Nidal, they would still likely end up coming through the southern entrance unless something had delayed them. And so you begin heading down. Are y'all pressing, or what level of urgency are y'all approaching the situation?
She's got a pretty high level of urgency, but she's not gonna like gallop out there. So
Trying to maintain composure. Like, this isn't the worst thing that's happened to her in a long time.
it is not the worst thing that's happened to her in a long time.
Episode
It's not.
22. Episode 22.
But she's more angry than she is concerned. She's been waiting for this letter for a while.
So
It seems like she might be in the midst of an argument in this letter.
So go ahead and give me perception checks as y'all are moving along the road.
27.
27. Coincidental.
24?
Nuh-uh.
24.
Oh,
24.
what'd you get?
7.
Oh, 7. I heard
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
24 and 7 at the same time. I was like, fuck.
No, I'm sorry. 7. 9. 9.
So y'all are coming just over a hillock, and that's one of the reasons why Taffy probably hasn't seen it yet. It's just the difference between being on
I'd like to
Little
think
bit.
that
A riding horse and a
Taffy's
riding dog.
looking down at her hands, kind of thinking.
and
Still muttering to herself.
She's down in the dumps.
She's just talking to herself, like muttering about a spell or something.
and as y'all come over, y'all see that it looks like there has been ruts into the dirt and gravel mixture of this road, and you can see the normal spots where you would expect the wagon travel to have been the heaviest. But from those, you see what appear to be fairly fresh tracks that have taken off of the standard path and seem to be heading further north up into the foothills around here. As y'all were approaching this, you were probably several miles, maybe close to the 5 or 6 miles outside of Breach Hill itself. So close to the town, but well outside of any range of protection that you would expect to be traveling. So prime bandit country at this point. And so y'all have come across this one. What would you like to do?
So we've come across the ruts, basically.
Yes, you see that it looks like the spot for the caravan has been taken off the road at some point. And you know what? Go ahead and give me another survival check to see what's going on in the area.
Oh no.
This
Nope, that's terrible.
Total of 10.
on the ranger build.
Oh, no, 7.
23.
23?
It says for the hunt prey, you gain +2 circumstance
17.
bonus to perception checks when you seek your prey, and +2 to survival checks when you track your prey. What is the difference?
So
What is seek prey versus track prey?
So track would be figuring out where they go. Seek would be perceiving, like if you're trying to go through cover or utilizing the aspects of the seek action. So the seek action is something that you could do of, let's say you were in a combat encounter, but you knew that your prey was around, but you didn't know where they were.
Okay, makes sense.
Or like if they cast invisibility on themselves.
Right.
Uh, 24.
So everyone who got above a 15, which I think is everyone but Deimos, right?
Yeah.
So y'all are checking out the area, and from what you can tell, it looks like you have a band of about, it appears to be about 6 individuals having intercepted a caravan that looks like it may have had 1 or 2 others. From what you can tell from the scenes, you saw what appeared to have been this group of individuals on foot, seeming to have stopped a caravan, and you kind of envisioned it in your minds. At some point, the caravan itself had stopped. It looks like someone might have gotten out. And as you're kind of looking around, you can find a couple aspects. It looks like maybe someone might have been struck, because you find what looks to be like a small bit of blood along the side. And then you see and you follow along the curves of the wagon itself having been taken. And then as you begin following those tracks heading into the north, it looks like it is carried along to the point of where at some point you can see that the ground went so uneven that it likely would have damaged a standard type of transport. And you would be pretty sure that a caravan to a small town likely doesn't have the sturdiest all-terrain wheels necessary for the wagon supports. And as you're going just probably another 100 yards further down, you see that the caravan looks like at this point it's been tousled to the side and abandoned. And as you're approaching, you see that one of the axles has been broken as a part of it. And you're getting in to the area. All you hear is kind of the sounds of the nature. The top part of the canvas of the cart has been torn to the side and kind of sways a little bit into the wind. And I want everyone to give me a perception check.
27.
17.
13. 28.
So, everyone above a 20, you hear what sounds to be almost kind of like a pawing sound. Like a little bit of claws on wood. And Caslin gets this feel in his heart as he's getting closer towards the caravan itself. Like this, almost like a weird swelling in your breast.
So
You're
like
not
his
quite
heart
sure
grew
why.
3 sizes that day.
And as you're getting closer, you recognize, oddly enough, a scent. One that only if you came from Corvosa would you really recognize. Because you smell what you associate with a drake roost. Now,
Nani?
and as you begin checking around the area and you start getting into the cart, you see that the cart itself has been everything of value appears to have been stripped out of it. But as you check some of the corners of it, there is this little hole, probably about 2.5, 3 inches in diameter. And it looks like it goes into a false bottom of this cart. You're not quite sure how it would have been missed before.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's where you start hearing this squeaking sound. And as everyone else is kind of checking to see if they can find any of the other aspects of the card to see if they can find what's going on. You're following your nose to this scent, and you're like, but drakes don't do that. But you know, you smell Drake at this point. And then you hear this little squeak, kind of like this crawl, and you remember back at a time when you would be on the streets of Corvosa playing with your friends around that your parents never knew that you had available as your playmates. And you remember back to one very specific, a small scaled beast. And you remember his call. It was very unique on that one. It's one of the reasons that drew you towards him. And you think you hear it coming from that hole. What do you want to do?
Investigate further. I don't know. Open the door. It's a whatever.
So you get into it, and as you get your face a little closer, and you kind of trying to peer into it, and as soon as you get like within an inch or two, all of a sudden so you get to nose with the hole, and you're trying to peek in with the light that's there, and then this little head pops out. There's just this little drake head. It's just like, and you know exactly what this is. This is the Drake that you played with when you were a kid before you were sent to prison, and he's there. You don't know how he came from Corvosa, but this little shit's here, and he's right in front of you, and he comes out of the hole, and he's there. And
There you go. What the hell are you doing here? And he reaches down and like, not like to pet him, but like to extend his arm out so he could like.
He clambers up, and as soon as it starts squawking, every one of your companions turns their head towards you. And as you're, lifting out the side of it, y'all see this little drake starting at his wrist, crawl up to the side of his arms, and it pops across one shoulder, cross out over to his other side. It's got these sharp little talons, and all of a sudden you just see it like crawl up, and it's just like prancing across his head at this point. There's a tiny drake that's a little bit bigger than Wimble that is just walking around the crown of Bread's hat at this point.
Hey, Bread, you have a lizard on your head.
It's not a lizard.
Okay, not a lizard.
Does it have wings?
It is. It does have wings.
Now you look at the very essence of a Corvos, and all you need is roof dust.
Roof dust?
Yes, dust from the roofs where you would run.
It pops its wing out, and you see this
They're
little
called
shimmer.
dogs. Roof is the noise they make. Come on.
I don't think that was the point.
Roof dust. Drake. Perfect. A Corvosan.
Sorry, I can't make it. There we go. I don't know what the sound a snake makes. I've never had a boop noodle, okay?
A boop noodle?
Not to
They're
be-
noodles that you boot.
Not to be confused with a nope rope.
Yes.
Snack boy.
Good
Snacky
snack.
But Bread, you now have your animal companion.
Yay.
Wimble's gonna fly up to it.
Oh, Christ.
No, don't bite that.
Wimble's gonna bring his hand out flat.
Give me a diplomacy check.
For Wimble?
Yep.
Does it use my stats or his?
It uses yours.
Oh, okay. That sounded really like that was a fate point or button flying across the room, for the record. 18?
So, Kazalin, you are level 4, right?
Yeah.
And for Ranger, which skill did you have as your class DC? Did you go Strength or Dex? Because the DC is going to be Kazalin's class DC.
But why? It's diplomacy
To
towards
his animal companion.
a creature.
Uh-huh.
I think Dex. I don't know where to see that. But Dex is my highest, so that's probably that.
And so that means that your
If
DC
you have
would
a-
be 18. What did you get, Taffy?
18.
Excellent. So you'll see this moment. Wimble is flapping his little fey wings as he's trying to reach out and pat the top of
No, he's doing like what you do to his new dog and letting him smell.
the smell. And how does your Drake react? And have we established your Drake's name yet?
His name is Dago.
Dago. How does little Dago react?
He's a little shy because he's been stuck in a hole for a long time, I guess. And but he's like receptive, you know. He's kind of like nervous, but cool.
It helps that Wimble's really pretty right now.
Oh. Like they're smart, right? He's got like a base intelligence of 10, so he's not
like
feral.
Like,
like
right.
drakes can like communicate telepathically. Like they're
Yeah.
intelligent creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like,
He's cool. He's shy.
So Dago spreads his wings out fully, just like this big stretch, and you realize exactly that his wingspan is several inches longer than his actual breadth from tip of his nose to the tip of his tail. And then he just kind of nuzzles Wimble's hand just a little bit. Doesn't take off any fingers.
well, good, because I would have not reacted very well.
And then
But so Wimble, now knowing he can do scritchies, goes behind the crest on the head and does a little scritchy right there.
so as that happens, the little Drake's tail just starts whipping side to side on Kazalin's head,
God.
and the back part of your ears are getting whipped by a dragon tail.
They're cute.
Yes, house drakes are adorable.
We'll have to get one up on the Twitter.
If you want to know more about house drakes, you should rewinter Witch. The whole first part takes place in Corvosa.
So we'll have to
One
get
there
that.
named Skywing.
So Kazlin will have to get a picture of his house drake up on his Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Those are typically house drakes, not caravan drakes.
All about semantics today, aren't you?
She's in a mood. Leave her be.
Why don't you mind your own business, Deimos?
You were this morning. You're
Master
in a mood too.
Kazlin
You're
is-
all in a mood.
You have a drake on your face. Well, on top of your face.
Very perceptive.
Be nice to him.
I am.
He's too pretty to be mean to.
I know that.
There. It's okay. So pretty.
Huh. I've been called many
Taffy's
things.
gonna keep investigating. She's gonna be shaking her head. And then she's gonna cast invisibility on herself.
He means you're handsome, Alec.
So while Taffy is invisible, what is Taffy going to be doing?
Fucking off for a little bit.
Okay.
She's gonna go like 10, maybe 15 feet down the, or 10, 15 yards down the road where she can kind of see everything, and she's gonna be stealthy about it.
Give me a stealth.
Do I get a bonus for invisibility?
You do. Tell me your roll.
So the roll is 14.
And is that plus your standard stealth?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is 0.
Y'all see. So Taffy was there for a moment, and then she's kind of not. Y'all hear her cast a spell, and there's kind of like an absence, and
She's
even
just
Wimble's just kind of like, oh, can she? Where'd
Well,
Taffy
Wimble-
go?
Wizards
Wimble
just do
knows-
this sometimes.
Wimble knows
Could
where
Taffy
she's
do
at.
this before?
Who knows what she has at her disposal? My mother does this all the time.
Wait, your mother goes invisible?
Yes.
Isn't that taking the whole conservative women's role a little far?
Alec, my mother is a very accomplished wizard.
Specifically, Taffy's looking for footprints and anything like horse tracks or anything leading away from the overturned cart.
Give me a survival.
Also, is there a concern about the conservative view of women?
It just seems limiting.
19, 20, 28.
When you're
or
facing
26.
monsters, they tend to not care whether you're male or female unless there are very poor intentions involved.
Monsters are typically not what we're considering in Chelish.
All night, Alec.
Right, that's why we kill them.
Lovely.
No, I mean,
No, the
you're
monster's
fighting
not
for
the
this
women.
country. You're fighting for a country that supports this.
Technically, the Hell Knights don't owe allegiance to any actual nation.
In addition, he is from Varisia.
Okay, fancy.
There's a difference between Cheliax and Varisia, Demos.
I know that.
One has a lot more imps than the other, outside of Kavorsa at least.
Corvosa?
Corvosa? Even Taffy is like,
It's a good thing you're handsome. Anyway.
That is the second time that my looks have been complimented on today.
So were there no other letters in the caravan?
You...
Just the one?
That's
So-
actually a good question. What the fuck was in the caravan outside of the drink?
So everything that was in the caravan looks like it has been ripped out with the exception of what the drink was. So you can tell that there were spots where different types of boxes and crates would have been. You can see the parts where they've been pulled out and loaded in on and off multiple times. But as far as you get into the actual holds that are there, you get into and open up the hold where the Drake was located, and you can tell in that one that it looks like there had once been some material in there. You see some different shreds of paper and some small bits and pieces of metal and the like that was there. But you can also tell that there is another part, like a proper compartment. Looks like it had already been opened and closed again recently, as this normally kind of locked one is slightly ajar.
She is going to lightly kick the side of the caravan in frustration. It's like,
Bonk.
damn it all, Corvius, if this is not worth the fight, I'm going to kill you.
Go to kill who?
Mind your business.
And Taffy, you know that it looks like the items have likely been brought further up into the foothills. In fact, it looks like they went north as well as west.
she's gonna keep following the path.
Is Taffy not going to come get us? Is Taffy going out on her own?
She's scouting since nobody else is doing it.
Is that wise for the wizard to scout? How long does your invisibility last?
10 minutes. So when she gets kind of close to the end of, or halfway through the spell, she's gonna come back and get on Bramble.
So
Or
as
not
y'all-
Bramble,
Braxton.
Braxton. Thank you.
So y'all survey
Yeah.
the scene, and you can tell that once the wheel had broken here, you see that there are 6 sets of footprints leaving. But you see that there's probably about 8 sets of footprints that are in the area. Give me another survival check.
Me too, since I'm already looking.
You're a little further down the pathway, Taffy.
18.
13.
And Caslin?
What is this?
Survival.
15.
So for 15 and up, as y'all are checking out, so you see that there's the 6 that went one way, and then as you're checking out along the others, you see it looks like 3 sets went off in a different direction. And as you kind of begin following that direction there. You're like, and as you're moving along, you're pushing some of the smaller trees and brush aside. It's definitely off of a path at this point. And as you get there, the first thing you smell is the blood. Y'all have gotten used to recognizing this scent at this point. And as you get to a location, you see that someone had been killed here, but you see no bodies that are there. And as you are investigating and looking about the area, who has Arcana knowledge outside of Taffy?
No.
At this time, am I walking back?
Yeah, you will be on the way back at this point.
I won't mount up Braxton when I get back if they're like wandered off from where we were at.
Damos, give me a Bardic lore check.
Wait, what would that be? Because I don't have something called Bardic Lore, I just have Ancestry.
So you should have Bardic knowledge.
Occultism.
So, yeah, you'd use your occultism check.
Okay. I have no idea what this dice was before I looked at it.
Go ahead and roll.
That's probably worse. It's 14.
You can tell some sort of impromptu ritual had been done here. It looks like it's relatively recent. You can't exactly identify what spell it is. And as Kazalin's kind of checking out the area and Stheno's checking out the area, you see that tracks lead in, and then there's the blood, and then it looks like you have a same number of tracks, but heading off in the north and westward direction back towards the trail that's there. But the steps look different for two of them. Where before you were seeing standard sort of steps that are done, the next set, instead of them being kind of light and lively, they appear to be more plodding. And so it's about this time that Taffy arrives back where the cart itself is at. And
poofs back into existence.
And as y'all come in, y'all see her sitting atop Braxton.
Anything interesting?
The tracks lead off this way.
Sign of a ritual this way.
I go over to the ritual site.
Looks like vaguely necromantic.
Give me an Arcana.
I see all the things. I mean,
All of the things.
I didn't even have to roll to get a 22, so I'm at 28.
For a
So-
moment, Taffy realizes she's in a podcast.
So
No, I was checking math. I'm sorry.
So Taffy takes a look at the scene, and before even getting towards the blood, immediately you can tell it's necromancy. And it looks like, from what you can tell, the ritual was done very quickly. It was something that was generally kind of pre-prepared for this area. The wagon having broken down might have just been coincidence for this point. But as you check it, it looks like there was a quick ritual that was done, essentially a raised dead type of ritual. And from what you can tell, it looks like someone had taken two recently deceased bodies, and from the nature of the ritual, it looks like it raised them as skeletons. From the type of the ritual that you've seen. You do know that the different rituals for raising the undead vary. Some are designed for zombies, some are designed for skeletons, some are designed for wraiths. You can tell that this one was a type of ritual designed to raise skeletons.
Can I tell what type of skeletons, if they're human, mammal?
Not from this type of circle design.
Well,
but
I
you
mean,
imagine it
prints
was
or
whatever
anything
the
around?
original bodies were. So you assume humanoid, considering you see from the type of
Footprints
track.
and shoot. Okay.
You don't see any signs that a non-humanoid has been slain.
I'm gonna... Might be overkill, but I'm gonna detect undead. Or wait, hold on. If I can... That's not the right spell. I don't even think that's a spell anymore.
It's not. They got rid of it. That was a nicely timed horse snort.
Yes.
I guess detect magic to see if I can detect a direction that they might have gone. It might blind me though, but I know that it's magic where I'm at, so I can ignore this and see if I detect any other sources.
So you would likely want to use Sense Aura. Do you have that one prepared?
I don't have that one prepared.
Whenever she leveled up, didn't she get the one where she could like sense magic all the time?
Oh yeah. Arcane sense.
Because Detect Magic tells you, pings you, gave you like direction and location of magic. Sense Aura is the one that tells you the kind of auras that are
Your
there
study
for
of
magic.
magic allows you to instinctively sense its presence. You can cast first level detect magic as at will in our arcane innate spell. If you're master arcane, the spell is heightened to 3rd level. If you're legendary, it's heightened to 4th.
Yeah, you would need Sense Aura to be able to tell.
I don't
any
have
deeper.
sense aura readied. Do have 2 chill touches readied for some reason, so it's up to DM discretion whether or not I can.
Well, you don't have the arcane substitution feat, so
Well, regardless, we know something happened. We know it was magic, and we know it went one way. And then we know that the other group went another way, right? The 6 set of footprints.
it looks like they all went in a similar direction. And between each of you, you can tell that it looks like they meet back up further up a trail, and then that begins to continue north and westward.
I say we just go along the trail, track them. I mean, Brett already made him his hunted target, right?
Yep.
Alrighty. So, let's go ahead and have Caslin do another survival check.
Natural 20, 29.
Nice. Does that include your hunted target bonus?
It does.
So, you begin heading to the north and west, following these tracks. You figure you're probably at this point maybe a day behind from when this was done. It looks like the timing of when Stheno received the message is not quite the same as when these tracks and the like were developed. And as you begin going a little deeper, you start really getting a sense of kind of like the timing to see following the set of tracks themselves. And you start kind of piecing together the timeline a little bit. You know, your first sense was it's about, maybe it was a day. You know, it's taken about half a day to get out here. And you're following along. You're like, no, this has happened a little bit longer. And you realize that once all of a sudden there's a spare piece of turtle meat that survived taken out of your pack and gulped down by your little drake. That this had probably happened several days ago. So when Stheno had to have been told that the caravan had gone missing, that there was a significant delay between when the caravan had been known to gone missing and then the messenger coming up. And you begin approaching, moving along the paths up into the forested hills. And you think you're probably a good 300 yards out when You think you see something kind of up in the trees. Give me a perception check.
All of us?
We'll start with Kazlin because he's hunting.
28.
You think you see a fortification about 300 yards off, and you think it's up in the trees.
Like a treehouse?
Maybe more of a tree fort.
Children.
Easy prey.
What? Should the rest of us roll perception?
Yes, once Bray kind of points it out.
Natural 20, 28. On these wonky dice.
22.
21, 22, 23. 26.
So you can make out that there is definitely some sort of elevated fortification a bit of a ways off. And
I have an idea. I can scout it.
Taffy. Is that wise?
That's safe.
Consider how many times we've watched you die.
Yeah, but this time I would be in a different form, and I would be more tough.
Different form.
Yeah.
I thought you were a wizard, not a druid.
I learned something new recently. I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
do you need someone as backup?
Wimble's got my back. Literally,
We-
he's gonna carry me.
What?
She
What?
casts past shape on her, or past form on herself.
What?
She's gonna turn into. She's gonna turn into. It can be like a bug and stuff, from what I've been researching. So she's gonna turn into a dragonfly. She can't yet fly because it's not heightened, but she can essentially like
She's a flightless dragonfly.
she can.
So sad.
She can cling to Wimble as he flies up ahead for her.
They're going to get eaten by a
That
bird.
is the strangest thing
Dago's
I've ever
lip-
seen.
Dago's licking his lips as he sees this munchy dragonfly appear in front of him.
Wizards will never cease to astound me.
He's gonna.
So,
I'm gonna say, no, stop it. No. That's not punch.
so, I'm super stealthy, and
Yep,
Wimble's
give me
super
give me a
stealthy.
stealth and give me a perception. Start with your stealth.
So my stealth is 23.
So I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So if she were to naturally won that stealth, would it just have been Taffy's voice screaming out of this tiny little dragonfly?
If I had not one, it still would have been an 11.
Oh.
But you see my
Yeah.
point.
But so I rolled a 13 plus my 10, so 23.
Stheno's gonna kind of lean towards Alec during all this and be like, is she harder or easier to hit like this?
Harder, actually.
Well, I would say pretty difficult depending on what you're wanting to hit her with. You might
Fly
be
swatter.
a fly swatter, maybe, but have you ever tried to hit a dragonfly with a stone? They are very quick little buggers. And
I've never thrown a stone at a dragonfly.
Why are you doing that?
well, when you're by a lake and you've got nothing better to do, you gotta
So-
get target practice somehow.
Wimble
That's very fair, I understand now.
can fly baseline 25 feet.
Yep.
He also has, as his third ability, because he has flyer, his familiar ability is fast flyer. So he can do, where'd it go? I just had it. An additional additional 15 feet.
So that means he
He can
moves
floor-
40 feet in action.
Yep, he can move 40 feet in action. So he zooms off with me up and above. And
So-
do I have to roll his stealth?
No, he's taking your stealth for that.
Oh, okay, because his would actually be 2 points lower. But
So you begin zipping around, and y'all see Wimble and Taffy disappear amongst the treetops. and y'all begin zipping from branch to branch, avoiding anything that looks like it might be out for a quick snack. But Wimble is very adept at going from shaded section to shaded section, spot to spot, bough to bough. And as you get in,
He's been hunted by a lot of hawks before.
definitely understands how not to be seen, especially when he's trying to sneak vodka out from the Wizard's Grace. And you come up to a small clearing that is just before a series of elevated fortifications above a small shack. Give me your perception.
Derp. Perception 17, 8, 9, 19.
So as you're coming up, you see that there is a large platform spread across 3 trees to where it's rooted in, about 40 feet in length, about 25 foot deep, and it's actually 2-tiered that's there. And you see 3 armored and armed half-orcs standing in the fortification. Looks like they're in a set of guard duty. And as you zip around, you see that behind that, to the right of the shack on the ground, which is a small hovel, looks very similar to it's got a door on one side. It's got what looks like a very small setup, maybe 1 or 2 rooms in its design. Then there's another elevated platform where you see another half-orc who is mostly kind of looking at the sky and trees. He's definitely just kind of
Spaced out.
Yeah, totally spaced out. And then on the other side of the shack, that is stationed between another small clump of 4 trees, is an additional half-orc. How long does your pest form last?
10 minutes.
So as you're getting over there, it took you probably about 2-3 minutes to kind of get over. And as you're kind of zipping around, staying and moving from isolated spot to isolated spot.
So she would have Wimble take her up to a branch where she could stand as a gnome, and have him touch down, getting close to the 10-minute mark.
Okay. So you want to spend that full time there?
Yeah.
So how's Taffy going to tell us what's going on?
Well, that's a problem she's going to have to burn when she gets there.
Taffy's got plans.
So
This is how Taffy winds up dying all the time.
I like to think she's being very careful this time.
As you're looking for a spot to kind of stake out, you also notice that there is a cave entrance behind the shack, probably about 15 feet away from it. Give me a society check.
Is that your last button?
No.
Good.
Another button. Thank you, Lady Taffy, as I drop that one too.
So much for that reflex save.
Society says
13. I rolled a 3 twice.
If Chris just says that's a cave, I'm going to scream.
It looks like a pretty nice cave.
Looks like a bear could live there.
the fortification appears to be a couple decades old. You're not quite sure why they would set a small half fort, essentially, kind of a tree fort, just up outside of a cave. But as you are observing, give me a stealth check for when you are going to come out of your pest form.
18.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I want to be as high up in the tree as I can possibly be on a branch that is sturdy enough to hold me. Did you just nat 20?
I did nat 20. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be great.
There's no critical on a skill check, though.
No, there's no critical on a skill check, but it's fine. Everything's fine. It's going to be good. Everything will be just fine. I'm not trying to kill Taffy this way.
You just killed the gnome.
I'm not killing the gnome today, I don't think. So, Taffy, here's what you see as things begin going down. You see exiting the front of the shack and then moving around to the back towards the cave appears to be a female hobgoblin. She's got a ragged scar across one of her eyes and an eye patch over the scar. The strike that had dealt that was a near debilitating blow. You can see that it is wide and deep across and definitely is likely what took the eye. And you see her approach the cave, and as she's doing so, you see a figure also emerge from the cave as well. This appears to be a tall female half-elf with blonde hair, pale complexion, and a set of gray, unassuming robes. You can see that she carries her chin up high, her posture is very rigid, and it's almost like she's always looking down her nose. The hobgoblin has to kind of like elevate her head up a little bit to be able for both of them to catch the eye. And give me a perception check.
12.
You can tell that the two of them are conversing back and forth. You hear snippets that are just like something about payment, next set of silver. The half-elf seems to mention something akin to additional subjects. It's hard for you to pick out exactly what's being said back and forth.
Probably pretty far out in a way.
And as you're watching and you're observing what's going on, both of them all of a sudden seem to pause, and they look directly in your direction. Give me a stealth.
That is button time.
Mavic likes checking buttons.
Careful with your button.
I know.
Gimme. Yes. That is the third one.
Maybe Medvic needs to give me a button.
Your GM gives you one every session.
Yeah, but
despite the
Medvic, how
number
many
of
times are you gonna
traps.
fail that reflex save?
As many as necessary to steal all of Demos' buttons, too.
Okay, that's much better. That is a 25. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. It's a 15 because I'm not a dragonfly anymore.
Oh no. Oh no.
What did you roll?
I'm so worried.
You hear two whistles go out. And then one of the half-orcs calls out,
What? I don't see one anywhere. What do you mean?
"Over there." And then, Taffy, you hear the pulling back of drawstrings. What do you do?
Okay, is it just one action or can I use a spell?
What are you wanting to do?
I immediately turn back into my pest form.
Alright, so you want to use two actions to go pest form again?
Yes.
Okie doke. So you go into your pest form, and then you hear him call out,
I think it's a. Is it a druid or a wizard? I don't know. It's magic.
what do you want to do?
Wimble is gonna take off at 40 feet per second.
So,
Or per round, I guess. Or no, he's gonna use all three actions to fly the fuck away. So, 80, 120 feet.
so as Wimble is getting set up. Let's make sure that that happens the way I think it's going to happen. Okay, so Wimble begins flying, and you begin. Are you going to like beeline it straight towards the party?
No, they're gonna shoot up and away at an angle to lead away from the party, and then once they're far enough out, he's gonna veer back.
Can we hear any of this?
Y'all are still a little too far away, but y'all are beginning to hear what sounds a bit like commotion, and y'all probably might have initially heard the whistle,
Stheno's gonna pull her sword out.
and then as you are beginning to try to gain elevation, it looks like there are going to be 3 arrows coming up at you as they are taking aim. They're each going to get 1 shot, but they are all labeling Wimble as their hunted targets.
Ooh, Rangers.
So, what is Wimble's AC?
16.
Okay.
But that's outside of their range, though, right?
So,
Unless they're...
well, see, the thing is, you can shoot because they're going to be shooting you with short bows. So you are going to be outside of their first range increment. So the important part about that is that when you're outside of that range increment, there's always a chance that if they had precision damage, it wouldn't take. Like if they were a rogue, you'd be outside of the ability. That's not quite the case for rangers because they have hunted shot,
Oh, yeah.
which allows them to ignore a lot of those range increment penalties. So you have 3 arrows coming up. 2 of them hit. 1 of them is going to hit critically.